the 1970s, a family moves into a seemingly ordinary mansion in a quiet town, unaware of its tragic past. The house was once home to a cult obsessed with preserving their spirits after death. As strange events unfold, the family's youngest child, Grace, begins to hear whispers and see disturbing apparitions, while her parents dismiss her fears. The deeper the family digs into the house's history, the more they realize that the spirits aren't just watching. They want something. A massive, isolated mansion surrounded by overgrown woods. They marvel at the house's grandeur, but sense something slightly off. Grace, the youngest daughter, immediately feels a chilling draft as they enter. The door creaks, and her eyes lock onto a faded portrait of an unknown woman in the hallway. Grace can't sleep. She lies awake, staring at the ornate ceiling, when she hears a faint tapping sound from the hallway. It grows louder until it sounds like footsteps. Investigating, she finds the hallway empty, but the temperature drops, and a whisper calls her name. She rushes back to bed, terrified. Grace begins seeing disturbing visions during the day. She watches as shadows dart across the walls and faces peer out from mirrors. Her parents, dismissive, believe she's just adjusting to the new house. But Grace knows something is watching her, whispering from the shadows. While exploring the house, Grace stumbles upon a hidden door behind a dusty bookshelf. She opens it and discovers a secret room filled with strange symbols on the walls, old relics, and journals. The room feels colder than the rest of the house, and an overwhelming sense of dread washes over her. She quickly runs out, but doesn't tell her parents. Grace's behavior becomes erratic. She tells her parents about the voices and the shadows, but they don't believe her. She spends more time in her room, where the whispers grow louder, coaxing her to return to the hidden room. When she does, the shadows seem to come alive, almost reaching out to her. Grace's father, curious about the house, stumbles upon the hidden room himself and finds the journals. Reading them, he discovers that the previous occupants were a cult obsessed with eternal life. The journals detail their rituals, which involved preserving their spirits in the house. As he reads further, the room darkens, and he feels eyes watching him. The shadows focus on Grace, gradually taking control of her. One night, her parents hear her speaking in a voice that isn't hers. When they rush to her room, they find her standing in the middle of the room, eyes blank, with dark shadows swirling around her. She mutters cryptic phrases in an ancient language. The father realizes that the cult's spirits are trying to possess Grace to complete their unfinished ritual. He races against time, trying to find a way to break the connection. The shadows, now fully manifested, haunt the house. Every mirror, window, and dark corner reflects their growing power. The father uncovers a ritual to banish the cult's spirits, but it requires a sacrifice. He struggles with the decision, knowing that one wrong move could doom them all. As he prepares the ritual, the shadows grow violent, attacking the family and trying to stop the banishment. In the climax, the father completes the ritual, summoning a violent storm of shadows that engulf the house. In a last desperate moment, Grace is pulled between the real world and the spirit realm. The family fights to bring her back, even as the cult spirits try to drag her into eternal darkness. The ritual succeeds, banishing the spirits, but at a great cost. The house begins to collapse, and the family barely escapes. As they flee, Grace looks back and sees one last shadow watching them from a window, whispering her name. The camera pans out, showing the once grand mansion, now crumbling into ruin.